This Naviance tutorial is going to focus on the career aspect of the website. So during sophomore and junior year group guidance classes, your child spends time focusing on career exploration and major exploration. So we do have them fill out a couple of surveys asking them about their personality and their and careers that might appeal to them, and this data can be found in their Naviance account. So I want to walk you through how you find it and what you can do with it, so that way you can see that there are discussions happening about what your child should do after high school and what they should study in college. So you're on the home page, and then you want to click on this top tab that says Careers, and then you're going to click on Personality Type. Now, when a student first does this and they're in group guidance and we give them time to fill this out, there will, instead of this confidential report coming up here, there will actually be a series of questions. And these questions for the Do What You Are, it really offers you the perspective of two different individuals. And it asks you about, would you be more like Julia or would you be more like Emily? And then if your student is a male student, there's two male names. And so they go through these series of questions, and then it provides a report at the end as a summary of their of who they are. And what's interesting about this is it will also tell you how accurate it is. So for some students that are still kind of early in the process of self-discovery, their profile might not be as accurate because they're still trying to figure out their likes and dislikes. Other students, have a little bit better idea of what they're interested in not, and then it might say that it's mostly accurate. So when I filled it out, I kind of just randomly did it so that I could get this report printed, and it came up as mostly accurate. So what it does is it gives you a very nice description, and I think as a parent it's really easy to say, okay, yes, this sounds exactly like my child, or no, this doesn't sound like my child. And I would say that when we go into class, about 90% of students really feel that this is a good reflection of who they are. So it gives you some pointers on your strengths. It gives you some pointers on your weaknesses, and they're listed here. And it's kind of nice to be able to say to a student, you know some of your child's weaknesses, but sometimes it's hard for them to hear that they actually acknowledge that that they're not perfect. And so this is kind of a good way of saying, okay, here are your blind spots, and you don't have to be the bad guy in telling your child what they might need to work on. After you get through those, it gives you a career that might be satisfying for you, and it relates it not into specific careers here, but more into how it would be a good fit for the personality and what kind of qualities that are strengths for this person would be good in these jobs. And then it also indicates preferred learning style. I think this summary is especially useful because when you're going off to look at colleges, there are some where it's more of a large lecture hall style, and there's 200 people in your intro level courses and attendance isn't taken. And then there's some schools where all classes are about 15 or under, so it's more discussion based. So you have to know your child and know what they're interested in, and know what might be the best reflection for them. Then as you go down, you will see that it gives you some careers that relate to the personality. Now, some you will see don't necessarily require a college degree, but that's where this becomes a good exercise for both student and parent to do together, because some do, and you'll be able to help your child work through which ones would be appropriate. So what I'm going to do here is I, being a school counselor, am going to look at a career in clinical psychology. So when I click on that career, it gives you some schools that offer clinical psychology. All right. Now this is more at the master's level. Let me try to find a major that is more at the undergraduate level. Okay, so this is perfect. So you look at counseling psychologist, you would be a psychology major in undergraduate studies. And here, obviously, many colleges and universities in the United States have psychology. It gives you an alphabetical list, and it gives you the state and the city name, so you know where these schools are located that have this major. And then you can go down and it gives you all the different careers in that area. And then as you see, this next one is the arts, which I indicated was pretty interested in, communication and media, etc. And then it creates the career on the left-hand column and then what you would major in college in the right-hand column. Okay? Now, if you were to go, and you also have the option to print this report if you want to share it or bring it to work or do something with it, you do have a printable option. I'm going to click back on careers. And now I'm going to go over to the Career Interest Profiler. So this was another series of questions. This wasn't really, the last one really was two different people and sort of their perspective on life, on different things. This one is more about looking at, there's just a series of 180 questions, and it gives them different possible occupations. I would like doing X. I would like doing Y. And then it relates those answers and it clusters them into different categories. So the way I answered it, if you'll notice my numbers 18, 16, 15, 13, 17, 17, I was kind of all over the place on this one. I didn't have a clear area that was really the strength. I mean, they picked the top three, but if you'll notice that the top three were really close to the other three. I have seen some done, actually a good portion of these done, where the three numbers that are biggest are much larger than the smaller numbers. And then down here it defines the different categories. So everyone has these categories of realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. Everyone has those categories. What changes for each student is the number next to the categories. And the higher the number, the more interested the student is in those areas. And then you can click on the View Matching Occupation List. And it divides the occupations into the amount of preparation that is needed in the different areas. So you'll see little or no preparation, then you go down, this is some preparation, and then you go down further. Medium preparation, and then you go down, and then considerable preparation. So I'm going to click on civil engineers. Okay? And this is very fun for students. So what it does is it gives you a job description of what a civil engineer does. So if you have a student, let's say, that's interested in engineering but they don't know what kind, you could go through the different engineering types, and then it gives you the Holland Interest Code, which is those 3 letters. Okay, because the top 3 categories that we went through before, realistic, investigative, all of those, you would write down the first 3 letters of those 3 words and then relate it to the Holland Interest Code. If those 3 letters match, that should be an occupation that is of great interest to your student. And that's what essentially that list of careers is. It's all the different occupations that have those 3 letters. Then in the next tab, it gives you knowledge and skills. So it provides for you the list of the 5 most important skills that you would need for that job, and it also gives you the 5 most important abilities, okay? And then at the bottom, it says the 5 most important knowledge areas. So it really kind of gives you a broad overview of what this career might be like. Then it looks at tasks and activities. This is really the day-to-day life. You know, a student might say, I want to be a lawyer, and they relate it to television shows that they watch on TV like Law and Order or Boston Legal or anything like that, but they don't really actually understand what does a lawyer do each day? What are they billing for? What is it, if they're not in the courtroom, that they're actually doing? And this really gives them that piece of information. And then the most fun part, this is how you can get your child really interested in this, is looking at the wages. This is where they all the students scramble to look up careers and then see what they're going to make. And so it does it by state too. And you'll see that there's great variation from state to state in some industries of how much people will make. All right. Now again, remind your student that they are not going to start at the average. They're probably going to start in the second column as getting out of grad, or even a little bit less, because that's 90% made at least this. So that's really your starting out salary, and then all the way in the right-hand column, that's about where people are tapping out now that are getting towards the end of their career. So that's not likely going to be the dollar figure that they're going to make when they're out of college. The second thing, and sometimes parents forget this, is that you want to remind students that you want to take this number. Let's say we'll just go with something easy. Let's say we take a salary of $100,000, and then I say to them, okay, automatically take off $30,000 for taxes. Okay, so you're going to take off a third for taxes, so kiss that goodbye. Then you're down to $70,000. Then you need to remember to divide that by the 12 months of the year. And then I kind of start I'll write on the board what rent might be, a car insurance, cell phone, and then we kind of really take a look at what's left at the end. So that is something that students are very interested in. They're very interested in money. A lot of students want to make a lot of money. So it's something that you just really want to relate to the possible career interests that they have. And this can be a really useful tool if you're disagreeing on a chosen field of study that you don't feel like is something that has a lot of job security. You can easily bring your students to this page and say, hey, I love that you want to do that. Let's look a little bit about the realities of that job and what that's going to bring you and what you want in your life. So that is all for the career piece. You can also, on the left, right before we finish up here, you can explore careers. So you can look up a career by a keyword. You can browse it by a category. You can use that Holland code that I talked to you about, so realistic, and then you can pick 3, and it will find some for you. And then at the bottom, it also gives you clusters if you want to see all the jobs in any given cluster. So for example, if you were to click on finance, it would give you the different options. You could look at accounting specifically, and then you could go to each of the different ones. So thank you, and I hope you have fun looking up careers with your children.